Alright. Hey everyone, it's Oliver. So today I've decided that I'm gonna make a video that I will hate editing later, but that really needs to be made, and that is talking about what my plans are for the future and what I want out of my life, my YouTube channel, and I guess my career as a whole. So I've always kind of had this interest in finances and personal finance, and I spent so much of my time doing really boring financial stuff like looking at tax codes, learning about different investments. I had a chat recently. The person I was talking to basically told me like, hey, I don't know why you wouldn't become a financial planner because you literally spend all of your free time talking about it. So recently I've been doing research and looking into how I can get my CPA or my Chartered Professional Accountant. Now, if you don't already know this, I am in engineering school. Well, I'm going into my fourth year, but I'm actually working next year for the full year. I'm teaching, and then in the summer I have to find myself another job to get the co-op designation on my degree. Yeah, I'm doing an engineering degree, and my goal at the end is to become a CPA. So I've really enjoyed any accounting course that I've done in university. I also really like the fact that I can start my own practice after I get my CPA designation. And on top of that, I found out that instead of getting my certified financial planner, you can just get a CPA and then directly apply to be a certified financial planner and take one exam. To be a certified financial planner or a CPA, you need some form of a bachelor's degree. So I'm already 3 years into this engineering degree. There's 0 point for me to stop now. And I think what I'm going to do is for the next 2 years of my degree, because my degree is 5 years, I'm just going to take a bunch of accounting elective courses so that I can get to the prerequisites that I need to apply for my CPA preparatory education program. Hoping that the CPA thing works out. I mean, here's the thing. I think it's a really good idea to kind of keep your options open, which is part of the reason why I'm finishing this engineering degree and then doing my CPA, so that I have the option, if I change my mind, because I do that a lot, to actually be an engineer. Like I have my bachelor's of engineering. And to be a CPA, I don't need a commerce degree. I can do the prerequisite courses and apply to the CPA program. It's not that big of a deal. The point is, I have lots of different interests, and I kind of just throw myself into whatever it is that I'm really interested at the time. Where I'm really heading towards is accounting, because I'm very much an analytical kind of person where I like seeing the numbers. I like messing around with the numbers. I like math quite a bit. I like doing all of these things that are kind of perfect for an accountant, but I just so happened to throw myself into engineering like 3 years ago because at the time I wanted to be an engineer. And that's not to say that I'm still not interested in engineering. It's just the way that engineering is taught is not exactly what I had in mind when I first started. I like engineering when you're actually doing the engineering stuff. So I like engineering in more of a trades manner than I do all of the theoretical stuff, and I think that a lot of other people will agree with me on this. They like the putting things together, the construction, the coding, like all of the things that you can actually physically see your progress happening, but all of the theory, all of the mundane, boring mathematics and physics and all of those things don't really interest me all that much, and it's unfortunate because you can't really have one without the other if you want to be an engineer, but that's just kind of how it is for me. And if you look on my channel, I have a couple of videos about woodworking and putting together a patch, a cross-stitching patch, and I just like to DIY everything. And engineering isn't really DIY, it's more professional, and I like to keep things kind of more like personal. So I don't know, there's kind of a disconnect there. And I haven't really found that one thing in engineering yet that really just makes me want to stick with it and actually just like put my time and energy into trying to become an engineer. There's just nothing there that really excites me all that much. Like I honestly, I enjoy making these videos a whole lot more than I do going into class. And okay, I like talking about Python. I don't mind coding. I don't mind doing AutoCAD. Honestly, AutoCAD's pretty cool. There's so many things within engineering that okay, this stuff is kind of cool, but you don't learn how to use any of it properly. You don't learn any of it in any kind of depth. And of course, like, it's not really the school's job to do that for you. That's where work experience comes in. That's where extracurriculars come in. That's where all these other things come in that are kind of on you to shape yourself into the engineer that you want to be. But the problem is that I never really was that interested. Like, I would, in my free time, I'd rather go running. I would rather film a video. I would rather, there's so many other things I would rather do. And I guess from the start of my engineering degree, maybe that was a sign that I should have switched into business, because I would rather look at the stock market. I would rather, mess around with my money. I would rather change my budget for the month. I would rather find a loophole in the tax code that I can use to my advantage the next tax year. Like, I literally would spend hours researching and reading about things completely unrelated to engineering. And, like, in a way, that's a good thing, because I'm getting a much broader base of knowledge. School is teaching me the engineering stuff that I would theoretically need for my engineering job, and I'm teaching me the life skills that I would find useful in my day-to-day life. It kind of hasn't really felt that way, because in engineering classes, you're just learning this boring, mundane theory, but you're not really learning how to apply any of it. And they kind of expect you, in some ways, as an engineer, to just be so into it that, like, engineering is like your lifestyle. And I'm sorry, but it's not. I wanted engineering to be my career, and I wanted something else to be my lifestyle. But that you can't do that in engineering school, because literally every second of your day is occupied thinking and working out problems and going to class and doing all of these things that are just, you're immersed completely in engineering. I didn't have time for anything in my first, like, 2, and even in my 3rd year. I didn't have time for any of my hobbies. I didn't have time to, like, play video games. I didn't have time to play music, and, like, part of that was my fault because I didn't do a great job time managing, but I also think part of it was just the amount of work and the amount of stress. You don't really have time to spread yourself out, to do creative tasks, to enjoy the engineering that you're doing. It's hard to enjoy it when all you're doing is theoretical stuff, and, like, the applications are far and few in between, or you're doing so much that by the time the semester's over, and you're only learning things so that you can pass it on a test or do well in a particular lab in one particular situation. And at the end of the day, once the term is done, you're like, okay, well, I forget everything because I was only learning it for one particular test or one particular use case. You're not learning anything by testing at the end of a term in a big cumulative exam. For your average student, such as me, you don't remember anything because the way that you were taught it was for particular use cases and not to gain and acquire the knowledge. And there are strategies, there are study methods, there are tons of things out there that I personally can do to try and assimilate and sink this information into my brain, and to try and keep it, and to actively recall it and to use it every once in a while. And there are ways to kind of commit these things to your longer term memory. I'm personally not that interested. Like, I like it, but I just don't care that much. And it's hard too because there's so many other things going on in my head. Like, my tuition expenses are blowing my brains out because I think about how stressful it is to have to find a way to pay for tuition every year. Luckily, my parents do most of that, but, like, I can't imagine somebody who is, taking on loads of student debt to try to get an engineering degree and have to focus on getting the engineering degree. There's so many things that you have to worry about. And I guess I'm kind of just complaining about adulting because this is, like, what happens in adult life. Nobody's out there to help you. You kind of have to go out and find the people and the things and the strategies in order to survive. It hasn't been fun, I'll say that much. I have enjoyed some parts of it not so much. After 3 years of being in engineering, I've kind of made up my mind that maybe doing engineering in a professional way is not exactly what I want to do with my life. I spend so much of my free time talking about finances, helping other people kind of financial plan, helping my parents try to plan for their retirement, talking to my friends about how they're managing their money, what they're invested in, why they're invested in it, what they think is happening with particular companies. We talk about these things all the time, and I have such a big interest. I talk about the economy as a whole. There's so many things that I'm interested in finances and economics and all of these things, that it just doesn't make much sense to me anymore to continue to pursue, I guess, an engineering degree. Obviously, I'm going to finish it. Like, I already started it. I may as well. You never know. It's nice to kind of have the engineering degree as like a backup. Now I run into another problem, which is, okay, if I'm not going to do engineering, I kind of started an entire YouTube channel focused around engineering, and here I am saying that, well, I'm not actually that interested in it. And I guess what happened was I made a couple, 5 or 6 reasonably good videos about a topic, and those videos took off. Whether it was the thumbnail, the title, the actual content of the video, they took off, and now I have, at the very moment of this recording, about 3,150 subscribers, which is like, what the fuck? When did that happen? I'm like, when did that happen? When did so many people subscribe? When did I get so many subscribers? Like, what the fuck? I got nothing to complain about when it comes to that, but like thank you, but also now I've kind of dug myself this hole, because don't get me wrong, engineering is cool. I don't mind talking about it. I don't mind talking about it here and there, telling people about it, but it's not like my absolute be-all end-all passion. Like, I like to make the videos informing people about mechatronics because that's the engineering field I'm in, and I had no clue what it was. So I was like, you know what? If I didn't know what it was, and I've been doing this for 3 years, I am sure there are tons of other people who have no idea what mechatronics is, and I was right. Clearly, there is a lot of people out there who need this information and who want this information, and that's awesome. I'm glad that people are going out there and seeking this information. Like, I felt like my purpose was to find all of this other information and squish it together into a simple video that people can watch that's like, whatever, 6 to 10 minutes long, and you get all of the information that you need. But recently, the videos have kind of just felt like it's kind of been more focused on the video process than it has been on what's actually being put into the video. And I always try to do like all of my research and everything, so like that side of it hasn't changed. But I guess the underlying purpose behind my video making, I think, is kind of shown, because I don't feel like the quality is quite as good as when I was making videos talking about things that I thought like other people needed to know about because they didn't know, and that I was confused about at some point. But now it kind of just feels like I'm making these videos, like, one, because other people are requesting it, or two, because I have to make a video. I want every video to kind of help other people in one way or another. The origination story, the videos that have kind of blown up, I don't know, like, I don't want to make that many of those videos. Like, I can only talk about one topic for so long, and when it's something that you're not super interested in or invested in, that makes it really hard to continually try and talk about it and force yourself to do research about something that, like, you're kind of interested in, but not really. And like recently, I made this 22-minute long video about universities in Canada and how university became so expensive in Canada. And obviously nobody's going to watch it because no one cares about Canada, but I spent an entire weekend researching for that video. I read so many articles, and I loved every second of putting that video together. It was so much fun. I enjoyed all of that process, and I think that video came out extremely useful, helpful, and it's something I would watch. Maybe obviously other people aren't watching it nearly as much as something like my mechatronics video, but who knows? That could just be the thumbnail's bad, the title's bad, but the content in the video, I think, is very good. Just like some of my earlier videos, I think the content was pretty good. It's hard when YouTube tells you one thing and the people in my comments are telling me one thing, and there's this completely separate thing that I want to do that I think I would really enjoy doing. So it's put me in kind of an interesting situation because now I have this growing YouTube channel and I don't know what I want to do with it, and I don't know like if I switch directions what'll happen. Um, do I like force myself to keep researching engineering and like treat this as like a job? But it's like I make like $2 or $3 per video, so I mean, I would rather just make a video that I'm interested in, make $1 less than I'm making right now, and actually enjoy the process. So I think that's kind of what I'm going to be doing. And I've also decided that instead of, because I used to do this where I would script every single line of the video, and you can probably tell there were so many like cuts here and there. But now I think what I'm going to do is, rather than scripting an entire video, I'm just going to try and make these bullet outline points. Just this is the topic I want to talk about, this, and then build off of those topics in a more conversational kind of manner. And hopefully that will come across like more natural and maybe even, increase the viewership. I want to kind of come across as more authentic. I've kind of been having this crisis on YouTube where I don't feel like my videos are super authentic. They're informative, they're quick, they get the point across, and in some situations, it still makes sense to write out an entire script, start to finish, and get just the bare minimum information I need in order to get my point across. But recently, like if I want to sit down and have a conversation with the camera, it's a little bit different because I don't really want to have a strict outline. Like I know the things that I want to talk about, but saying it word for word, like, oh my God, can you imagine that I'm going to be a chartered professional accountant? It might be more editing in post, but I think that being able to get some of my points across in a more natural way will actually, benefit the quality of the channel, and hopefully people will appreciate that. And I guess final point here, I've been thinking that maybe I will just continue on this channel to talk about things I'm interested in occasionally and continue to mainly focus on helping people understand engineering and how they can get into engineering schools, what engineering jobs look like, engineering tier lists, pros and cons of each kind of engineering, like those kinds of things. Yeah, they can be interesting, and I don't mind researching them, so maybe I'll keep doing them. And outside of that, I think what I'm going to try and do as well is maybe post more on my Footsteps channel, which is my personal kind of like podcast, post whatever I want YouTube channel. And then on top of that, I was thinking that I'm either going to start like a gaming channel, or I'm going to talk with one of my friends, because we have tons of talks about finance. Like whenever we go out for a walk, we usually go out and like for a walk and see each other like once a month. But whenever we do, nonstop, just like 2-3 hours of like amazing talks about finances, what's going on in life, what we're investing in, what types of things we're doing. And I think that being able to put that into a podcast or a YouTube channel and just sit down with him, and it's going to be great soon because we're all going to be fully vaccinated very soon against the disease going around. So hopefully once we're both fully vaccinated, we can sit down, have a real conversation, get some microphones, and just talk. Like I have asked, and he's definitely on board to try something out like this. So I think what we'll do is try to start up a new channel with a different name. I don't know, call it something like Young Finance or or Finance Chats with the Bros, or I don't know. I have no fucking clue. I don't know what we're gonna call it, but we're gonna come up with the name, and hopefully it'll be a good name, and hopefully it'll be a name that we can use for a long time and it won't be outdated super quickly. That's a big one. I don't want it to be like Zoomer Finance or anything, because I feel like people aren't going to understand what a Zoomer is 5 years from now. And then you'll have like the younger generation coming up and be like, what are these dudes doing? They're like 30 and they're calling themselves like Zoomers. Yeah, so I want something that's kind of going to span the test of time and that we can both kind of appreciate and enjoy. So yeah, that's kind of been it. I don't really know. This video has been a lot of mumbling and rambling, but essentially I just wanted to get the points across that, engineering might not be so much for me, and I'm interested in doing my CPA. I'm going to get my CPA, and then I'm going to be a certified financial planner after that, and hopefully I will really enjoy that. I mean, who knows, right? And right now I'm doing my real estate course. Maybe if I like get 1 or 2 sales in real estate and my connections take off, I might just do that. Who knows, right? Like there's so much opportunity out there in life, but I've kind of been realizing that the thing that's been holding me back is just not jumping into things when I'm interested in them. Like I'm super interested in real estate. Why not try and get my real estate license? I want to be an accountant. Why not get my CPA? Like I want to be a financial planner. Well, I can get my CPA and then be a financial planner, right? So there's so many things like that that's just like just do it, just do it. And when it comes to finishing things, like I like to try my best to finish things. So I'm going to work my way through this engineering degree, swipe it off the plate. It'll be done. It'll be done eventually. No rush. I've also realized that there's no point in rushing through life because I had this thing where like I take summer courses every year and I'm like, I'm going to graduate a semester early. But now it's like, well, what's the point, Like why bother? There's no advantage to like forcing myself to do more school and then ending it early and then what, like maybe I don't get a job when I graduate. I may as well spend some more time in university, try and figure out what it is that I want to do with my life and actually go down a path that I can see a future for myself in. And as of right now, that path it would be an accountant and a financial planner. So that's kind of what I'm going to do. I think I will start to focus some more of my videos around finances. I'm probably going to be talking about the United States because, as I said, nobody cares about Canada. And the United States is where the audience is for these things. In Canada, we have our news and our media outlets, and they still kind of run the show around here. Independent media hasn't really taken off quite like it has in the US. So yeah, we're going to start to focus our videos around the United States and do my best to talk about finances, talk about investments and stocks. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully you gained something from it. I don't really know. I mean, thank you for listening. If you sat around and listened to the whole thing, I really appreciate you. And yeah, hopefully you're able to kind of see that, it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to not do the thing that 3 years ago you thought you wanted to do. People find new interests, and if you find something that you're more interested in, it makes perfect sense to go into it. If it makes financial sense at least, then do it. Like, just do it. There's so many things out there that are just, great career choices, and I think that it's important to find the one that will fit you well and to not settle on something too early. I honestly think that's extremely important. Because if you settle on something too early, you'll get this kind of cognitive dissonance like I've been feeling throughout my engineering degree. Like, I don't know if I want to be doing this. Should I be doing this? Oh, I'm going to have to find a job. What if I don't like the job? Like just all of these things going through your mind that would, you work for a year and you're like, man, this is really not what I want to be doing. And then you end up further behind the people who, took 6 or 7 years to figure out what they wanted to do. But once they start doing it, they're really happy with where they are because they took the time that it needs to kind of grow and develop and change and find the things and settle on the things that you're really interested in, while also in your free time allowing you to explore creative avenues and keeping your options open. So I think that having this kind of explorative mindset is really good and that everybody shouldn't settle on things too early in life. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, leave me a like and subscribe to the channel for more engineering and finance videos. And take a look around, see if I've actually started this finance thing I talked about with my friend. If not, oh well, I guess I'll talk about it myself. Anyway, that's been that. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Appreciate y'all, and I'll see you next time.